What's up, everyone? Roger and James here from DisKingdom. In this episode, we're going to be continuing on our road to Marvel Vs Capcom Infinite, where we're looking at the Capcom side of things because, in all honesty, some of the characters we've got no idea who they are. You know, we've seen them maybe in the other Marvel vs. Capcom games, but we kind of want to do a little bit more of a deep dive into who they are so that we can understand these characters a little bit. Because sometimes, you know, if you don't know who they are, we know, you know, it makes life a little bit easier from everything. So we're going to be looking at the Darkstalkers. So I played Darkstalkers Resurrection, which I think includes two older games. So played it for about half an hour, just kind of messing about on PlayStation Now the other day, just to see what it was. Now there's a couple. I think there's Jeddah and what's the other one?
Morrigan.
And I think there might be another one or two. So basically, like Darkstalkers, I'll be honest, I was completely because it wasn't the game I was expecting to play. Because I think I went in blind. I didn't have a clue what it was. I was expecting like a 3D run around with a sword kind of thing. And I was like, hold on, this is just a 2D fighting game. And the first time I played it, I'm like, I think I played the old one. I'm like, the jumping's all over the place. I played the second game. I was at least able to kind of go, okay. The first game, I was just like, oh my word, this is awful. But the second game was a little bit more better. You know, I was playing, I think, as Morana, and she's like, she had Fireball, Dragon. Literally her moveset is the same as Ken. It literally she could do a Fireball, she could do some kind of weird kick, and she could also do a Dragon Punch. And I was like, okay. And you got all these different monsters. You got like a werewolf, Little Red Riding Hood with a load of machine guns. You had a vampire, a mummy, a Dracula. It was odd. It was a little bit odd.
Yeah, it's very much a product of its time, and it came out, right after, Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat 2, or even Mortal Kombat 3 were still very popular in the arcades. I think the first one came out, PlayStation, I think it was 94, 95. So, yeah, of course, everything feels very dated, because even with the updated version in Resurrection, it's like, well, you didn't actually change anything. You just upgraded the graphics. And it's one of those games, it was mediocre. It was just a generic fighting game, and I think a large part of the popularity simply came from the art style. It was a very different art style at the time.
Yeah.
We were used to more, the photos that they used in Mortal Kombat, and then like the kind of more detailed art style of Street Fighter 2, whereas this was very anime, and anime wasn't, as mainstream as it is now. So people were like, what is this? This is so weird. But yeah, there's nothing distinctive about this game whatsoever except for the character designs.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, I am saying designs because their personalities are just paper towels. There's nothing to these characters.
I think this is the thing. For me, I think as I did go in, I went in completely blind. I saw it on the system. It's like, we've said that we're going to play through these games. Some of them I had no idea what they are. Some of them I did. And I played it, and I was like, okay, I can see why this fits in Marvel vs. Capcom, because it actually does make complete sense. Because these are essentially just Street Fighter 2 characters, just with, in some ways, these characters. I mean, yeah, no wonder they move over the system so well, because they will work, and I think that's the simple system. And there are some quite cool characters and stuff in there, different like monsters and stuff. I almost feel like Universal were like, hey, quick, get in here. But yeah, I was coming in from it completely fresh. I was a bit like, okay, no, I see why these are in Marvel vs. Capcom. These are little cool characters, but at the same time, they've not really done a lot with them for a while, have they?
No, because other than Resurrection, which itself was a remake or a collection of remakes, there hasn't been a Darkstalkers game since 2005.
Well, I'm just looking.
Yeah, 2005, and that one didn't even come out in the West. That only came out in Japan. Before that, it was 2000, where you had an original Dreamcast game.
Yeah, the first game was the Night Warriors, came out in 1994, and then you had Darkstalkers Revenge come out in 95, and then you had the Lord of the Vampire come out in '97.
And then nothing.
Then you had Night Warriors 2, Darkstalkers Revenge, 1997, and then by the looks of it, it literally was remakes and mergers and games 1, 2, and 3 for the. I mean, you had Vampire Resurrection in 2013. Before that, 2005, and that was a collection. So we're very much kind of.
Well, yeah, these are all update games. They only had 3 games. The one that came out in '97, and then the 2 other ones that you mentioned, Vampire Hunter and Vampire Savior. I'm reading the notes here. Those are actually remakes of games 2 and 3.
Yeah.
They were themselves updates, kind of like Street Fighter 2. They became like Super Street Fighter 2, or in this case, Super Darkstalkers 2. They just never came out in America. The Chaos Tower, it looks like it was also just a compilation, and then everything else has just been remakes. So they've been living off the same 3 games since 1997, and then pimping out the characters to other games, to movies, to anime or whatever, and keeping it alive. But this franchise obviously can't really sustain itself as a game.
I did read it reviewed very well, but it didn't make its money back. Hence why it's not returned. And this is the one thing I do feel like with the Marvel vs. Capcom. This is where characters are put in there, which, in all fairness, you're not putting in more well-known Marvel characters to put in equal up on the Capcom side, but in all reality, these are not well enough known. I mean, there was an animated series, I think, and a comic book and stuff. I can understand one of these characters being. I think it's basically one character and the villain. I think that seems to be how they're running it with this kind of game. It's odd. I mean, it's nice to see them continue on with these characters, but. I can't imagine. I'm sure there can be so many people that will be playing this game that will be looking at this and going, "Who are these characters?" Because, like you said, they're not even at a new version of this game in over 20 odd years.
Yeah, I mean, I think people might recognize some of the characters. Like, they might at least recognize Morgan because she's had such a media push outside of the game. She's fairly recognizable, but she's also fairly recognizable because she's a fairly generic vampire-esque anime character. I mean, I could probably point to a couple other animes of basically the same design, very similar. Heck, the first time I saw her, I thought she was from the Disgaea series. So, this is a baffling choice.
Wasn't the wolf in Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well?
I mean, this isn't their first appearance in the Marvel vs. Capcom series. It won't be their last. They'll continue to get appearances in other games.
Yeah.
But they're not going to have their own game, which is kind of the point. And from Capcom's point of view, they definitely want to use Marvel vs. Capcom as a way to sell other games. They want you to go out and buy, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. They want you to go out and buy Darkstalkers Resurrection and all these things. But no, I would really rather if you just put the resources in. Use the character Satana, daughter of Mephisto. It's the same character design. She has basically the same powers, and she's within the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's kind of this one of playing through some of these games. This is a prime example of a game that was no idea, played it through. It does now, when Marvel vs. Capcom, and this is the other thing, like I said, I've played Marvel vs. Capcom 1, 2, and 3 before. But again, they were just generic characters, which I literally just went, they were just enemies. They just weren't people I played with. I always remember that there was a few characters. I think now when I fire them up, I'm a little bit more aware of who they all are. But this is because we are literally purposely playing Capcom games, so we know who they are, and that kind of definitely sort of shows this kind of game of it's okay, I know what this is now. It's an old 20-year-old fighting game that's not stood the test of time in the slightest. I'd rather. I fired up after I played Darkstalkers for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, I think it was. And I was like, "Oh, Super Street Fighter 4 is on the place." I played that instead. It was just night and day. It was just no, thank you. This is fine for me. But I know who these characters are now. And you will see some gameplay and stuff if you're watching the video version of me playing the game and seeing how badly I did at it, because there was times of the jumpings and I'm like going, why is this not working? You know, and the thing is, I was trying out PS Now for the first time, going, is it the controller?
No, it's just because it's streaming.
Yes, I was like, yeah, tried it for a couple of sessions, like, yeah, I won't be carrying on with that one. But we'd love to know what you guys think of Darkstalkers. Let us know in the comments below. You know, because it's been kind of cool. We've had quite a bit of feedback to some of these other ones of some real diehard fans being a little bit like, how can you not? That's kind of the point of our series, was for us to know about it. But yeah, so we'd love to know your thoughts on the series. Did you enjoy it, or did you not have a clue about it? As per usual, you can like, follow, and subscribe us. You can check us out over at DisKingdom. Where can they find you, James?
Find me heroiclegacy.com, and also apologies to anyone who is a big fan for calling your favorite characters paper towels. I stand by it.
I'm just like, yeah, whatever. But no, it's like I said, it's always good to kind of get to know these characters a little bit more by playing them a little bit. But on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. See you guys soon. Later. What's up, everyone? Roger and James here from DisKingdom. In this episode, we're going to be continuing on our road to Marvel Vs Capcom Infinite, where we're looking at the Capcom side of things, because, in all honesty, some of the characters we've got no idea who they are. You know, we've seen them maybe in the other